love Mike D'Antoni, man. I mean, he's just lying all the time, but it is entertaining.
Wait, what?
I mean, none of it's true. The pressure's on Golden State. I understand what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, if they lose, we have home court back.
Well, listen, you've been coaching too long in this league. Just say what you're trying to say. Don't have us read between the lines. That's an idiotic statement.
So the question is, who's under more pressure? Well, considering the fact that since the Warriors got Kevin Durant, they haven't lost a single home playoff game. They've never been tied in a series aside from 0-0. And no one's ever taken them to 6, much less 7 games. I would say the team that could fall down 3-1.
What do you mean they've never been tied in a series?
Other than 0-0, a team's never tied them in a series. Never won 1, 2-2. They've been up 2-0 in every series they've
dominated every playoff.
Well, the Houston series,
prior to the Houston series, they've never been tied in a series. I apologize.
Yes.
They have not lost a home game, and no one has taken them 6 games since Durant's been there. So obviously the team that could go down 3-1 to that team is the team under more pressure. This is a game the Rockets have to win to have a shot to win the series. Golden State does not have to win this game to have a shot in this series.
Mike D'Antoni, you guys let me know, what's a bigger series he's ever been in than this one? Forget about Game 4. Has he ever been in a bigger series than this one?
He's been in, I think, one as big, a conference finals with Nash, but never a bigger one.
Tell me one series bigger than than this one.
No.
None?
No.
What about James Harden? He been in a bigger series? The finals.
As a sixth man,
OKC.
different responsibility.
Okay, what about Chris Paul?
No.
Oh, he's never been to the finals.
Right.
So the team that has all the trophies, all the pedigrees, all MVPs.
They have more pressure.
They have more. This is, to me, I had a problem when he said something like this during the season, as far as the 65 wins, what that was going to warrant him, as if that was some type of award, that's a trophy. If you don't win the NBA championship, you're just a team that had a great regular season. So I just hate when a coach just blatantly just lies. Give us some information that's going to help us as fans. Don't try to turn it around we don't know what's going on. All the pressure is on you. Giddy up or swagger. I love to see Caucasians always talk about swagger. To me, that's that's one of the funnier things I've ever.
His face.
Yeah,
oh God, Jenna's face is. Can someone please that can make gifs on the internet?
I just love how they've added that to their vocabulary. Oh, right.
I learn every day.
All right, let me ask.
I'm learning every day, and I put that in on Wednesday, so I don't want to take it out quite yet.
Let me ask you a question, Chris Carter.
Well, it's been out for a while.
What about the aspect of talking to your team through the media? If he's trying to communicate to his team in the locker room, guys, pressure's on them. They got to defend home court.
I thought you're trying to tell the team not to listen to the media. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say, okay, team, we're going to block out everything, because that's what most coaches do.
But I don't think that's what D'Antoni's done. D'Antoni's a different. I haven't heard him say we're blocking out the noise.
Let me tell you what you have to do with professional athletes. You can't lie to them. All right? Now, if you can tell them in a meeting, hey, guys, I'm going to send a different message to the media, you have to stay on the same page. Why all of a sudden now the players and the coach aren't on the same message points? Typically, you hear the coach, you hear the players say some version of that. After game number 3 loss, what did the coach say? The team was soft. Harden, what did Harden say? He said the same thing that the coach said. So you can't be trying to talk to the team through the media when you're telling the team not to listen to the media.
Do you think D'Antoni's telling his guys that the pressure's all on the Warriors
I think he is, and I think that's actually, unfortunately, potentially a bit of an indictment on the players on the Rockets. Because here's the thing. When we talk about the best player in the series, we just talked about LeBron, right? At no point would his coach say to him in a must-win game, pressure's on the other guys. He would say to him, we have to win. You know we have to win. Go do what is expected of you. Because he has a track record and history of rising to the occasion. I think Mike D'Antoni, if this is his message to the guys, which I believe it is because he knows that as great as James Harden is and as great as Chris Paul is, not necessarily the guys who play the best under the most pressure. They are guys who play better thinking, oh, this
So you think D'Antoni thinks he knows his players better? He's only been with Chris Paul 7 months, and he knows those players better to send out some message that's not true.
I think he's trying. I think D'Antoni is trying to convince CP3 and James Harden the pressure's on the Warriors.
That's just hard for me to concede. That's hard. That's a hard conclusion to try to pick, because coaches, they don't do things like that. Like, you can't try to play mind games with, in a championship series, you can't, unless you've got a long history with these players, and I don't believe him to have that, or a long history of having success. I don't believe you can draw those conclusions from that coach, what he's trying to do to his star players to relieve pressure from them.
All right, so let's get into this next game, if you will. The Warriors now will probably a little bit lightheanded without, I guess, Iggy is questionable or doubtful. At this point. We're probably not going to see him. How does that affect the Warriors? And maybe could there be like a sliver of truth that there is a little more pressure on them as a result?
Take the pressure. I would take the pressure part out of it, and just talk about how Iggy, the loss of Andre Iguodala, affects them. I think it potentially affects them greatly.
Yes, absolutely. It affects him on the offensive end. Affects him because he is a shooter. He is a shot maker. He's also a wing defender. So offense, defense on their rotation. What they typically do is they switch from 1-2 through the 5 position. That's one thing that they do, and have done a great job of it. That's why they start the Hampton 5. It's not because all those guys met. It's because it's a better defensive assignment, and on the offensive end, they can spread the court more because Iggy is a better spot-up shooter. Their rotation off the bench. So we talked about offense, now defense, now their rotation off the bench. Who's the first guy off the bench now?
Right.
But Swaggy P? I mean, he's not the defender.
Swaggy P might have to start now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that any team in the Western Conference would love to see Swaggy P starting.
Absolutely.
Not known for his defense, doesn't have the necessarily length that Iggy has, and you have to start watching. They're going to hunt him up, and they're going to hunt Steph up. So now they're going to have 2 guys on the defense for the Warriors that they can hunt up.
And I want people to understand what CeCe's saying when he says Iggy's more of a threat from the outside. You got to keep in mind, when Iggy starts, he's starting in place of Kevon Looney, JaVale McGee, or Zaza Pachulia. Nobody thinks Iggy's a dead-eye shooter, but if he's taking the place of your starting center, when none of their starting centers shoot threes, he absolutely is more of a threat from three.
He's not as good a shooter, spot-up shooter as Swaggy P, but he's a better ball handler.
Of course.
Better defender, and definitely a better passer.
And this is where the Warriors' odd roster construction can bite them a little bit. They could have found out 3 centers were doubtful for the game and been fine. When you talk about perimeter players, if you have the Hamptons 5 as your 5 starters, those are all, except for Draymond, perimeter-based players. Here's the entirety of the perimeter players on their bench. Swaggy P, Sean Livingston, and G-League call-up Quinn Cook. That's it. That's all of it, because they're carrying 6 centers for a reason that I don't understand. Team plays center less than anybody in the league. So if Iggy's out, maybe they'll start Kevon Looney. But still, your bench gets much, much shorter. The Rockets needed some reason to believe that the variables are going to be different than they were in Game 3. Iggy being out is not enough to make them a favorite in this game. It's not going to move the Vegas line a bit. But all of a sudden, if Steph gets in foul trouble, or if one of those other guys gets in foul trouble, now Nick Young's got to play big minutes, now Sean Livingston's got to do more than his regular 15 minutes, that could be problematic for them.
All right, we'll talk more about this. But on the other side, let's get back into that series out east. Why can't the Celtics win on the road? Next.